The name Rastafari comes from His Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie. He was Rastafari before he was crowned Emperor Haile Selassie. Emperor Haile Selassie is his coronation name. We who saw him as a biblical fulfillment became known as Rastafarians. We are his sons and he is Rastafari and we are Rastafarians.
Selassie!
Rastafari!
My Lord. By thee shall all barriers be broken.
In Jamaica, we always worship a white Christ and a white king and a white queen. They didn't learn us anything of a black king. So when I saw a photograph of a black king in the front page of the Daily Gleaner, I said to my father, I never know we have a black king. He said, yes, man. I said, how you know? He said, he was crowned 1930 in Ethiopia. 52 nations went to his coronation. I said, then how can I know about it? He said, read your Bible.
They that sow in tears shall reap in joy.
There had always been a stream among the people of memory. We had not completely forgotten Africa.
And he that goeth forth weeping burn present seed.
If there is anything we contribute to Jamaica society, one of the major things is wisdom, to get them wise. Get the society wise. Know that you're black, know that you're African, know that you're suffering by colonialism or neo-colonialism or whatever.
Bringing the sheaves with him, 144,000 elected saints, black women and children numberless at the sun and the seashore, crying out, Selah!
Selassie Jah! Rastafari!
Born in 1887, Marcus Garvey is considered the greatest prophet amongst Rastafarians. In 1916, he emigrated to the United States. There, he established a chapter of his Universal Negro Improvement Association, an organization which set about restoring pride and dignity amongst Africans and people of African descent. His Pan-Africanist philosophies have been the springboard from which most black nationalist and African independence leaders have based their struggles. His mantra being, "Up, you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will."
Marcus Garvey tradition was kept in the years following the waning of the UNIA, was kept alive by Rastas.
Well, Rastafari is the unity and love of black people, you know. That is the first meaning of Rastafari. Unity and love of black people get together, self-awareness, self-reliance. You don't depend on the next nation to do nothing for you, you have to depend on your own. You know, Marcus Garvey speak of it. Self-awareness, self-reliance, self-confidence.
Marcus Garvey had told us that we were to look to Ethiopia. And when a king is crowned, then we know that our deliverance would be at hand. Now that the king was crowned in 1930, followers of Garvey saw this as a fulfillment. And there the movement was formed.
Marcus Garvey didn't actually in any speech prophesy about the rise of an African king. But he did write a play, performed the play, entitled The Crowning of the King and Queen of Africa. The closing scene was a coronation, and those words, "Look to Africa when the king and queen is crowned, to know that your hour of redemption is at hand," must have occurred in that play. So when the actual coronation of Selassie took place, and his Empress Menen, the Howell and a number of people, independently of each other, began to attach significance to that because of what Garvey has said.
Leonard Howell was a follower of Marcus Garvey and a member of the UNIA. Charismatic and outspoken, he criticized the colonial interpretation of the Bible, and in 1934 began to spread his belief that Christ had returned to earth as a black man.
Leonard Howell is the forerunner for Rastafari because he's the first one that come and say Rastafari is God.
This is the site of the great house where Leonard Howell once lived. He had purchased this property in 1934, 300 acres. And the inhabitants there were all Rastafarians, about 1,800 of them. And this is the top. Overlooking 2 or 3 parishes in Jamaica. You have Clarendon, St. Catherine, and you can see as far as Kingston. So this view covers 3 parishes of the 14 parishes in Jamaica. A very beautiful scenery.
When I come to Pinnacle, 1940, and that day when I came was the 6th of February, 1940. 1940, we come at Pinnacle, the 6th of February. And the bookman checked that day, it was 1,798 and people never finished coming in. Him have to feed the whole people there.
They were a community of followers settling, and each had his or her own plot of land in which you cultivated and so on and sold the crops and so on. They raised goats, they raised cash crops and so forth. But Howell made a point of using ganja as a cash crop, which used to be sold in the marketplace in Kingston. It was at the time, although it was proscribed from 1925, it was never really prosecuted, so that it was possible to find ganja sold openly.
So me see right now, if the government could free ganja, better free. I cook we want in fight, you know, and free ganja. In this part of community, I'd help to build house and everything and buy one vehicle. Just the weed, you know? And the yam and thing. I just then we live off of Morris. Just the weed me depend on.
Howell amassed a considerable fortune from ganja, and the Rastas became inextricably linked with its cultivation. The early followers grew beards to emulate Haile Selassie and regarded Howell as a prophet.
When you see him, you have to stand up, take off your cap, and bow to him. And a black man, you know. It's a black man, arise and shine, for the light has come.
They used to sing songs to him, just as I always sing a song to Jesus Christ. You know, they sang songs about Howell. You know.
Once he was gang. You ever hear them call him gang? He was gang Gunguru Maraj. He is counselor. He is counter the year. He is Rastafari. This here one man.
When Howell come here, he come and wake us up to those things. And when he told us about Rastafari and we check history, we say the return Messiah. For Christ means Savior. So Rastafari is our Savior.
Rastas used to be stoned on the streets. They were considered, you know, derelicts and outcasts and so forth at one time, and madmen. You know, mad.
The imperial government didn't want you to say Rastafari is God or to show the people the truth. Because he may show you a false God and you will show the right God. So he will oppress you and persecute you for it. You understand? Him say that you is madman.
He never seen Tabas.